Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Friday, and all of today's guests, including Nick Kypreos, love having him on. Brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Looking for a midway escape close to home? BC residents save 15% on weekday stays at the Bayside in Parksville. Relax by the ocean, enjoy great dining, and unwind with island hospitality. Maybe the Leafs can go there after this weekend. Book now at BaysideResortParksville.com. Joined now by, from Sportsnet 5 Donnie in Toronto. You hear him here in Vancouver, in BC, on Sportsnet 650. And Rick and I listen every day on our way home. Nick Kypreos. Nick, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
We're doing okay. It's always a fun time of year. Locally, it's nice from a selfish point of view that the Leafs are in the second round, albeit one game away from elimination. But overall, I think the hockey has been excellent.
Tremendous. Every single night. Who's getting most of the blame for what's going on with the Leafs right now, Nick?
It starts with the big money guys, and no question. Matthews and Marner are typically the guys that are looked upon this time of year to lead. We know the history of the last 8 seasons with these guys on board. It's usually ended really ugly. I suppose if Game 6 in Florida ends as ugly as Game 5, this will be a break point for the organization. But that's 60 minutes away still before the game, and you never want to write anyone completely off in sport. Sport has a funny way of not going with the norm, but we'll wait and see. Toronto has a gifted roster, including 4 guys that, and we'll include Willie Nylander, that could at times show that they can take a game over, but that hasn't been the case since the first 2 games in this series.
What's the reaction been? And let's focus on one player here, because I know you were strong on this player the last couple of days. But what's the reaction been regarding Mitch Marner's performance, especially considering he's about to become, or scheduled to become, a UFA?
Yeah, not much different than years past, where people question how big he is, how strong he is, fighting through traffic, and no question that we're talking about a Florida Panther team that's as physical and strong as we've seen probably in the last 25, 30 years in the National Hockey League. They can go toe-to-toe with any team, and they can win any way. They can win with their skill. They can win with their grit. They can win defensively, goaltending. And, of course, if they got to get down in the ditch, they'll go there too with guys like Bennett and Tkachuk. And that's where maybe the Leafs might be limited on. There's no question that the team that's lost in previous playoffs was not as big and as strong as at times gritty as the one that we see now, but it's still not enough. Just to touch on Mitch Marner, there's a different feel for Mitch Marner this year, that he's weeks away from walking out the door as an unrestricted free agent. It's almost as if Leaf fans are almost bypassing him as the blame game. And they've come to the conclusion that he's not coming back, and now maybe the focus and the heat has been on Auston Matthews more so than we've ever seen before.
Full disclosure, I heard you talking about this on Sportsnet 650 here in Vancouver. Should they have traded Marner?
Oh, without a doubt. I would never have let it got to this point, guys, and I would have, and of course everybody says, well, he has no move. And it's like, yeah, so what? I mean, I still would have told him that it's parallel, that back in the summer, that if you're not planning on signing during the season, please give me a list of teams that you will go to and negotiate. And if we want to sign you, let's make no mistake about it. Our first priority is to sign you. But if in fact you've already made your decision, please give me a handful of teams that I can go talk to. And in the event that you're not signed by the trade deadline, please give me a chance to get some assets back, and I will move you to the team that you'd like to or you would prefer. So none of that happened. They kind of left it to chance, and I don't know if it was like let's just hope it sorts itself out. And he has a great year, which he did, 100 points. And you find out that you don't want to go anywhere, and we'll sign you in March or April. But it never happened. And to have a guy in his prime like that walk out the door for nothing, I think was a calculated risk that looks like it's not going to turn out very well for the organization.
Hey, Nick, big news in Vancouver. Got to get your thoughts. Rick, talk it out. Adam Foote in. What'd you think?
Listen, Adam Foote I've known for a long time, and very much a guy that has a ton of respect as a person and as a coach, getting better and better. You hope that's the case. I don't know whether or not it's a good idea to keep it internal at this point, whether or not you needed fresh eyes or I think you mentioned, or you guys have mentioned in the past, is it helpful or hurtful that he knows where all the bodies are buried here? And I don't know, but I do know on a couple occasions I've been with NHL teams to see the assistant coach go to the head coach, and it didn't fare fairly well. Colin Campbell took over when Mike Keenan left after we won the Cup in '94, and that was a challenging time for Coley. Mike Murphy, another guy that stepped in from being an assistant coach. It's hard. It's just really hard, and I don't know if there's preconceived notions on a few players that him and Rick may have had already. Sometimes players are desperate for fresh eyes, new attitude, and a chance to kind of give a new first impression. But Adam's a quality guy. He's a hockey guy through and through, and deserves the opportunity. I'm sure Vancouver Canuck fans would have hoped that Rick would stay. Obviously, the money was the big issue there, and I know there's a lot of things. There's a lot of boxes that need to be checked off for any free agent player or coach, but money always starts at the top of the list, guy.
Oh, you nailed that one. Hey,
Vancouver was not willing to buck up.
Yep. They did make a good offer, though, Rick, Nick, but it wasn't good enough what he got in Philly. You're bang on there, because the Philly contract the Taka got, wow, that was over $5 million. Hey, Nick, Jim Rutherford said yesterday expect big trades. He's going to try. What's your gut saying on Pettersson? Do you think they move him before July 1st, or is there a possibility?
Well, it starts with a conversation, and he's having them, and then you just go from there. And then you once again weigh out your pros and cons. But he certainly put himself in a position to have his name thrown out right around the trade or the draft day. Obviously, it's not going to be like we've seen in the past, where the guys are meeting behind a closed door or behind a plant, where guys like you and me and Elliot try to find them. But those conversations will be going over the phones in the next little while, and they're going to have to make a tough decision, because we do know that the no move clause kick in.
Yep.
And then you're really locked in here. So I think there's a possibility that he could be traded before July 1st.
Yep. And Nick, before I let you go, they've got some time off here, but how strong does Edmonton look right now, especially considering they're not playing with Matthias Ekholm?
Yeah, really strong. And it's almost as if the world changed with Evander Kane and Frederick coming in as depth guys. And it's kind of reslotted everybody, and the contributions that they're getting outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, to me, is the biggest story so far in these playoffs. And they look, they sound, and they feel like they're destined here. It's barely halfway through. There's still a conference final and a Stanley Cup final, and a lot of mileage still left here to win a Stanley Cup. But for the first two rounds, they're one of the few teams that really look like they just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And if they do get Ekholm at some point, man, they're going to be tough to beat.
Thanks for this, Nick, but I would like to point out that I think this is the third time we've had you on the show, and each and every time you bring up 1994. you got to remember, you're talking to Vancouver audience.
Come
They
on.
want to hear that.
Well, we didn't win in 1995, so
There you go. Okay. There you go.
I make anybody feel better.
Yeah. Listen to you every day, Nick. Outstanding. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, boys. We'll catch up soon again. Thanks for having me.
You bet.